Oh, hello there. Didn't see you. Welcome to the Week 2 recap and power rankings live from Washington, D.C. It was a interesting week in Week 2. A week of injuries, a week of devastation, a week of zeros from a lot of stud players. A.J. Green, 0 points. No Sean Moreno, barely got a point and got hurt. Brandon Marshall got a ton of points, but he was on my bench because I didn't think he was going to play. Jamal Charles, hurt. Adrian Peterson, beating kids, not playing, 0 points. It was craziness all across the board. Crazy week in the NFL, all everywhere, let alone in fantasy. But injuries are the name of the game. Gotta respond to them. Gotta find ways to survive with them. So with that, let's get started into the Week 2 recap. We'll start off with what was a doozy of a matchup, arguably the best of the week. John Booth against Tyler Roach. Booth hung on for the win. It was a 8-point win, very close. I believe it came down to Monday night. I could be wrong about that. Yeah, Roach had Vinatieri for the Colts, and he came up just a bit short. Both teams had guys go down with injuries. AJ Green, like I said, 0 points. But for Booth, but then on the other hand, Roach with with Moreno with 0.4. So those were basically a wash. Big players, Cutler, huge second half on Sunday night for Booth. That was kind of a dagger. Put Roach behind the 8 ball. Megatron was pedestrian with 11 points. Frank Gore looked like Frank Gore of 2008, 14. Booth got big pickups from his kicker and defense, which combined for nearly 30 points. Starting, Justin Forsett actually played off for him, 9 points. I guess that's what you expect out of him. McFadden, throwback, 14 points. Booth's bench didn't have much, so he was all systems go with his lineup. Roach, on the other hand, Edelman was huge again. Breeze kind of had a down day. That hurt him. Wide receivers of Roddy White and Kendall Wright didn't do much. Reggie Bush sucked. Alf Morris, big day. Jimmy Graham, monster. But like I said, it came down to Adam Vinatieri on Monday Night Football. He had 10 points. It's pretty good for a kicker. Fortunately, Roach needed about 18 out of them. And Roach also had nothing on the bench. Still not sure why Tyler has both Blake Bortles and Johnny Manziel on his bench, as well as the Ravens' third-string running back. But that is for Tyler to explain. So yeah, closest matchup, Booth moved on to 2-0. He's been solid if unspectacular, pretty much like his life. Tyler gets a devastating blow. He's up there. I think he's leading the league in points, but unfortunately he's only 1-1. But that is the nature of the beast, fantasy football. On to our next matchup. We've got Mr. Joe Downing coming back big time after a embarrassing showing week 1. Like one of the worst week 1 showings we've had ever in this league. He bounces back with a 32-point win over Palmer. Just a beatdown of all beatdowns. Not coincidentally that Joe's team bounced back when Cam Newton returned to the lineup. He started his young money quarterbacks of Cam Newton, Geno Smith, and they put up 38 points combined. So it seemed to be working for him. His wide receivers still not really doing much. He got screwed with Charles only getting a point and a half before getting hurt. But Gio Bernard went off 25 points. Shady had 18. Even Martellus Bennett had 13. Joe could have started Antonio Gates, 31 points, and really blown it up. But he decided not to. He went with Martellus Bennett, which was fun. He also got 19 out of his kicker, and St. Louis D with 12. Pretty good. Palmer was top heavy and then really bad and really nothing in between. Luck had a good day. Bobby Rainey, a plug and play because Doug Martin was out, 19 points. Gronk, pretty disappointing, only 5 points. But Toby Gerhardt, he looks like a bust. He had 8 yards rushing. 8 yards, I think. 8 yards rushing. You should think about cutting him, or at least not having him play in your lineup anymore. Gostowski had 14 points. That was pretty good. I'm highlighting that because the rest of Palmer's team was not very good. He picked up Bradshaw late, in the week, right? I think right before the games on Sunday. Probably could have started him. 24 points would have helped. Crabtree as well. Not sure why he didn't start. Justin Hunter did. He got him 3 points, but might be overthinking that one, Mike. Crabtree, big day, 17.7 points. But so some questionable managerial decisions there from Mike. And what do you know? He's 0-2. Joe gets the much-needed win, 1-1, to avoid being in the cellar of the league, which is usually where it is. So good for you, Joe. Proud of you. On to the next one. Big Cat versus Dame. So Dave versus Dame. Rally, another solid week, 148 points, won by 31. He also got a 0 out of Marquise Colston, although Colston wasn't hurt. He just did not catch a pass the entire game. I think first time in his career, so don't bank on that happening again. But even with that goose egg, he was still able to put up a whooping on Dame. Peyton Manning, solid again. Arian Foster, big day with 22. New England defense was what clinched it here for Dave. 30 points, that block kick. Return for a touchdown was a big get for Mr. Rally. Let's see, Eric Decker showed some signs of life. That was about it, though. Dame had Rodgers go off. That was big. Spiller had that return for a touchdown. Marshawn Lynch was solid. Arizona D was solid, but everybody else was just woof. His receivers, Riley Cooper, only had 1 catch. Doesn't look like the Riley Cooper of last year. Percy Harvin was okay. Let's see, Charles Clay, ugh. Pierre Thomas, ugh. So, not much happening there for Dame. Bench-wise, he had no help. He'll get Welker back this week, that $35 keeper. So, looking out for that, Dame. That should be good. Rally, bench-wise, had Sammy Watkins, who blew up. So, I'm sure he'll find his way into Rally's team roster this week. But what do you know? 2 weeks in, Rally's right at the top of the leaderboard, 2-0. Hate to say it, but he's there. Next, we got Mr. Gold against Mr. Glarum. This is another close one, a little bit lower scoring, but Glarum moved to 2-0, beating Gold by 11. I think this one, came down to Monday night as well. Sproles, 27 points for the Eagles and for Glarum. That gave him the win. I don't think did Gold have anyone going Monday night. Does not look like it. Yeah. So that 27 points was more than enough to push Mr. Glarum into first place overall after 2 weeks. Gold, 0-2. Yahoo projected him to go undefeated in the regular season. So that shows what Yahoo knows. Not too much. I mean, Glarum usually has big numbers from Stafford. He only got 15. 31 from Jordy Nelson helped fill that void. Like I said, 27 from Sproles. Vereen didn't do much, though. Witten didn't do much. Forte did nothing. Cooks looked like a flash in the pan from week 1. Gold, on the other hand, big day out of Randall Cobb and DeMarco Murray, but everyone else was pretty bad. His quarterback situation, Big Ben didn't really deliver for him. Demaryius Thomas still underperforming. And Pierre Garçon, 1.7 points. So Gold drops to 0-2, and the rest of the league smiles. And on to the last and most depressing matchup of the week. Brevet moved to 2-0, even though he scored 111 points, which would have been good if we were doing a league where we only started 1 quarterback and didn't have a flex. But alas, that was more than enough to beat me by 31 points. My team was just a complete train wreck. Russell Wilson was my biggest scorer at 20 points. And that was about it. Oh, Brandon Marshall. That's right. Brandon Marshall played the whole, I'm probably not going to be able to play. Definitely won't. I have to play Sunday night. That sucks. I'm screwing everyone's fantasy team. I'm going to catch 3 touchdowns about 25 points. So, could have used that. I still would have lost, which is sad, had I played him. But it would have been at least a little more respectable. I would have broke 100 points. I wouldn't have to pull my pants down and walk to the ladies' tee. But, yeah, it was just a overall piss-poor effort from my whole team. Pretty much worst case scenario. Glarum, on the other hand, wasn't much better, but he was just good enough. Des Bryant, big day, 21 points. Julio Jones, 18. Those guys were just enough to give Reve the win. Amazingly, Seattle's defense got him 0.25 points, probably the lowest they'll get all year. So at least he's got that going. Eddie Lacy still looked woefully underwhelming with only 7 points, but he still needs a quarterback. We'll see if he can get one. Derek Carr on his bench, 16 points. Looks like it could be time to throw him in. So, Reve, amazingly, he's 2-0, even though he has almost no points. And I dropped the 0-2 and in last place. So, long way to go. So, that was the Week 2 recap. We'll do quick couple of things I'm going to add in starting every week now. The luckiest team of the week, which this week was Reve. He only scored 111 points and got a win. On the other hand, Roach, unluckiest team of the week. He put up 135, which is not great, but very respectable. Can get you a win pretty much every other week. He put up 135 and got handed a loss. So let's see if Roach can recapture that magic he had in Week 1 heading into Week 3. Some managerial decisions. Let's see, the great start-sit decision of the week. It's got to go to Glarum, putting in Sproles there. He could have put in T.Y. Hilton or Terrence Williams from the Cowboys, or one of the 4 Vikings running backs that he owns. But he went with Sproles. Sproles came through big with him, for him with 27 points. Gave him that win on Monday night to go 2-0. That was a great decision. The dumb start-sit decision of the week. It's got to go to me, Brandon Marshall. I know he was hurt, and they kept saying he might not play. And in my head, I was like, oh, I got to put somebody in. I can't just leave him in with a goose egg. It probably would have been better if I just left him in with a goose egg. Then my overall score of 80 points would at least have an excuse to it. But instead, I took him out, and he caught 3 touchdowns, put up 25 points. So the egg is on my face for that one. So now we'll get into the power rankings. It's still early, so power rankings, not sure how much stock you can put in. There's not a lot to separate a lot of the teams. But there's definitely, I think, 2 tiers that we can divide everybody into. I think we can all agree on that. Glarum up first. He's tops in the league. He's got 292 points. He's right near the league leader in scoring. He's also 2-0 in the win column, so that's all that matters. His team is kind of up and down from first week to the second week. He's getting guys that contributed in Week 1 that didn't do shit in Week 2, and then guys that didn't do shit in Week 1 popped up big from Week 2. So that's a good sign. If you can get some consistency, it could be a real good team. Next, we've got Rally. He's got a cream puff of a schedule. He's only had 205 points scored against him, which is the least in the league. I think that was very similar last year. Helps to be lucky in the scheduling department, but he is putting up a ton of points, 291 points, which is, I think, 3rd in the league. So he is scoring a ton, which Rally's teams tend to do. Next, we got Booth. He's solid. He's 2-0, which is all that matters. I still have questions about certain positions on his team, namely quarterback. If Cutler keeps playing like he did on Sunday night, that will solve one of those questions. But Eli Manning is just not going to get it done. He's got Carson Palmer on his bench, but he's hurt, so he could be in the market for a quarterback. Also, he could probably use another running back. Yeah, outside of Gore, his running backs were bad. So, but he's 2-0, so not too much shit you can give him. Roach, I got next. He was the high scorer in Week 1. He put up a decent score in Week 2. He's the league leader in scoring. He's also had the most points scored against him. So you could say he's a very good team that's just been unfortunate scheduling-wise. I got him right below Booth. I actually like Roach's team better than Booth, but at some point you do gotta, as Bill Parcells, I think, once said, you are what your record says you are. And Roach, unfortunately, is 1-1. After that, I think there's a nice dark line dividing that group and then the rest of the league. Reve is 2-0, but my God, he scored 247 points. He also only had 208 scored against him, the 2nd lowest in the league. He has also been the benefit of very nice scheduling. His team is just unimpressive at the quarterback spot with Tannehill and Locker. His wide receivers are very good, probably the best in the league. Running backs, Wolf, Stacy, Eddie Lacy, and Lamar Miller. It's just not really impressive. He has Mark Ingram, who was blowing up on his bench, but now he's out for a while with a broken hand. Might be time to throw Derek Carr out there. He could be good. He could be a keeper. So after Reve, we got Downing, who's 1-1. Not really sure what to make of this team. He was shitty first week 1. He was much better in week 2. Still has 0 wide receivers. If Cam comes back and plays the way he did, I think that he has a good shot. Yeah, definitely plug in Phil Rivers. But it'll be interesting to see what he does. Oh, wait. He doesn't have Jamal Charles anymore. That's right. He just traded him to Mike for Adrian Peterson when Adrian Peterson is probably never going to play again for the rest of the season. So that was an interesting trade on Joe's part when I broke the news to him this morning. He thought I was fucking with him. I kind of wish I was. But yeah, that sucks because you just gave away Jamal Charles for free, basically. So there's Joe. We'll see how his team responds to that. I got Palmer right below him. He's 0-2. Is he 0-2? Yeah. Palmer's 0-2. He's scored a couple. He's also had a ton scored against him. So schedule has not been kind to him. But there are holes in this roster. He just spent $100 on Kirk Cousins, which is fascinating because he might not be a quarterback for the entire season, or it could be the play of the year. Hell, this is coming from the guy who spent $50 on Josh Gordon. Looks like he's rolling with 2 tight ends now with Ertz. I think that's smart. Get Toby Gerhart far away from your starting lineup as you can. He is just god fucking awful. Chris Ivory and Ahmad Bradshaw starting running backs. Hey, they're doing well right now, so can't blame you for starting them. Got Gold up next, 8th place in the rankings. Maybe he's got something else on his mind. I don't know. Maybe he's getting married in a couple of weeks. I don't know. But 0-2 for Mr. Gold. He's only put up 250 points. He hasn't had that much scored against him, so you can't really blame the schedule. It's just he's just not scoring enough. He needs a second. Well, I don't know what he needs. Quarterbacks are okay. You think Brady's going to bounce back. Greg Olsen was a good pickup, and DeMarco Murray actually looks like could be a steal. He was churning out yards on Sunday against the Titans. Donald Brown was a good pickup. He'll be good. Torrey Smith does not look good. Gold's actually got a good stable of running backs, I think, from Terrence West to Donald Brown on that bench. So could be good. Pierre Garcon's been a bust. His wide receivers are what's killing him, it looks like. Yeah, Alshon's been hurt. Demaryius Thomas underperformed. So you could say his team is just underperforming as a whole, which you could pretty much say for Gold his entire life. Next, we got Dame. Dame hasn't scored too much. Then also has had a bunch scored against him, so he's just kind of got his shit kicked in every week. Got him slotted in at the 9th spot in the rankings. You got to think Kaepernick and Rodgers are going to figure it out. Those would be 2 good quarterbacks. Wide receivers, Percy Harvin, Alan Hearns, and Greg Jennings. Yikes. Spiller and Thomas are just up and down guys. Marshawn Lynch is solid. Riley Cooper finally on the bench. Yeah, he'll get Welker back, like I said, so that's big. Still does not have a running back on his bench, which is interesting. But yeah, Dame's team just not liking it. And then we got myself in last place. It's getting pathetic. Got screwed in week 1 just with the scheduling. Got put up a ton of points and lost to Roach by 1. So couldn't argue that I should be 1-1, but record says 0-2. Last week, just absolutely embarrassing. I thought about quitting the league for a while. Sunday was a sad day. So we got to bounce back. Just need guys to be healthy. I mean, everybody's freaking hurt already week 1. I know everybody is across the league, but my gosh. Vincent Jackson would be nice if you had caught more than 8 passes in 2 games. That would be fun. Also, Carson Palmer, if you want to come back and start throwing to Michael Floyd again, that would be fun as well. But yeah, team is, I think it's fine the way it is. It just needs to get healthy and start playing. Thankfully, Dame and I face off this weekend, so somebody's going to be 0-3. All right. I think that is it from the commissioner's desk. Happy trading, happy free agency, and we'll see you all next week.